Do you not feel that you have enough time to grow food? Well, I made this video to help you. Here are 9 crops that you can grow for time-poor gardeners. And out of respect for your time, let's get into it. We're going to start off with squash. This squash here that I'm planting out is a jumbo pink banana. So squash, or the cucurbit family, encompasses everything like courgettes or zucchini and cucumbers, and then things like winter squash. So I'm growing spaghetti squash here, which is amazing. And the thing that's so fantastic about squash is that you plant them, they want very fertile soil, so just add a lot of compost. You plant them, you just then let them grow, and if you've ever grown courgettes before, you know that you can't really keep up with the amount of food that comes out of it. So why not do things like pumpkins as well, or like the other one, jumbo pink banana squash, which is amazing. Cucumbers are great. An outdoor variety of cucumber I always grow without fail is market more. It's not too late to sow it, but squash are really hands off. They just need a bit of space. So give them a bit of space, allow them to trail out, and you will get a huge amount of food for very little effort. Now, amongst me here are some fantastic herbs. This is Korean mint, we've got bronze fennel, lovage as well. Now, I'm not actually putting any herbs in because that's just kind of cheating. A lot of the perennial herbs, like the fennel and the Korean mint, you plant them and they come back year on year. It's very, very simple. I might talk about chives separately, but what I want to draw your attention to is this. This is a type of perennial kale. This is Dauberton's variegated perennial kale. And perennial kale is great. A perennial is a plant that lives for 3 or more years. And what this is an evergreen plant. So 365 days a year, I can come to my garden and I can harvest these leaves and eat them just as I would for kale. So Dauberton's variegated is one version I've got growing here. And then this here is Taunton's Dean perennial kale, which I've been propagating from cuttings. And again, this gives you loads and loads of food. And then elsewhere, I've also got Keeper's perennial kale. So 3 different types of perennial kale within this garden. That is a huge amount of food for a family, let alone an individual. Okay, fine. I'm going to talk about chives because some of you may have never gardened before. And if you're looking for a very lovely herb to start with that does produce a lot of food, then chives are a great start. So these come back every year. So as soon as you plant your chives, you don't need to then sow them at the start of each year like you do for the squash. Now, chives, you get multiple harvests. You can eat the flower heads of chives. You can eat the actual leaves of chives, and once they've gone over flowering, because at the moment there are bees enjoying them, you chop them back at the base and then they regrow. Now the lovely thing about chives is we've just been speaking about the perennial kale. Now perennial kale, when you cook that, just add a bit of chives, mix it in just at the end of the cooking session, and it adds a lovely layer of flavour. So it's well worth growing chives. Plus it's beautiful and it's great for beneficial insects. Next up we have rhubarb, which is this plant growing here. Now rhubarb is one of those plants that also come back year after year, and it's the stem that you eat, not the leaf. Don't eat the leaf, it is bad for you, it's poisonous, but the stem isn't. And with the stem, you can eat it raw, usually dipped in sugar. I like to dip it in honey, and you can also force it so you have it nice and tender and sweet early on in the season, or you can cook with it. You can make things like rhubarb crumble, and it is a beautiful plant. Obviously it's also ornamental. The leaves now, you can't eat the leaves, but what you can do is turn the leaves into a slug trap. So this is what the Victorians used to do. They used to grab the leaves, put them down on the ground, the following morning pick them up, and that is where all the slugs were hiding underneath. Next to the list is salads. So these are leafy greens. In here I have got things like lettuces that are growing. You can see some things have gone to seed. This big thing is a radish. I'm going to let it flower. You can eat the flowers, you can eat the seed pods. They're so nice and crunchy. You could pickle them if you want to. Other things that we have growing on around here, things like pea shoots as well. Now, when you're growing salads, you can keep it very, very simple. The only real thing that you need to do then after you sow them is water them. So get an area, just sprinkle down loads of seeds. You could just rake them in, give it a really good watering, and then they're all going to start popping up and growing. And that is how you can grow your own salad. It's also really cheap. Like, the amount of lettuce that you can grow from one single seed packet of lettuce is insane. You don't need to grow it all to begin with. Just put down some of the seeds and grow them, and you can just keep on coming back. And then as you start to build your confidence, you can then start to build up or grow other things. So things like spring onions as well, to add a bit more flavour. Next on the list is one of the best things that taste the best that are kind of made for gardening and eating, which is garlic. Right, this next to me here is actually elephant garlic. So it produces massive bulbs, but just the normal garlic, you can grow it. And it is so easy, because all you do is you plant the bulbs or the cloves. You plant the cloves in autumn, say like October, you plant them, and you just leave them. You just leave them outside. They start growing through in the new year, and you just leave them. And then later on in June, you then harvest them, and that's it. That's the only attention really that they need. Now, what some garlic do, like hardneck or elephant, is that they create these scapes. And you can harvest these scapes and pan fry them, and they're a delicious additional harvest to enjoy about a month beforehand. And then with the bulbs that you grow, you could then save a couple of the bulbs back. It's only until October, so you don't need to worry about storing them in any special way, shape or form. Separate those cloves, plant them out again, and you can then grow your own garlic year after year. This big plant around me here is chard that has gone to seed. It's a biennial, so it seeds in the second growing season. Chard is part of the beetroot family, which you can see quite similarly by the leaves. Now, at the moment, there isn't actually that much food left. There are some of these smaller leaves, but the lovely thing about chard is that it is very hardy and it is very easy to grow. You can also add perpetual spinach into the mix as well, and it just produces a lot of food. My favourite is the stem part of the chard. The variety of this is called Ford Hook Giant Chard. Still plenty of time to sow it. I got the seeds from real seeds, and it looks really cool with the stems. You could go for chard bright lights, so you get all sorts of different coloured bright stems. So it's a bit of an ornamental, like with the oranges and the reds, and it is just so simple to grow. It just needs a little bit of water on dry occasions, but that's really it. It produces a lot of food. You eat the leaves, you eat the stem. It's a cut and come again, and it is really, really simple. This next crop I just had to include because it is such a staple for so many people. And actually, if you're growing it out in the ground, either in raised beds or in the ground, it is very, very easy. It is potatoes. It is not too late to sow or plant main crop potatoes at the moment, or you can do, as some of you might know, the blight resistant varieties like Sarpo Mira and Sarpo Java, because blight is the kind of the Achilles heel of potatoes. But you just put them in the ground, make sure there's a little bit of compost, bit of soil, and you could just pile like loads of leaves or grass clippings on top, and it will grow through it, and you'll get a huge amount of food from it, because all you need to do is plant them. And as long as they're kept mulched, or as long as they're kept watered during really dry weather, they just do their thing. Potatoes are ready to harvest after they've started flowering, and for like main crop, it's once they start dying down. So once the plants start turning yellow, you can then harvest it, dry them out in the sun for about a day. Don't wash them, but just store them in paper bags or jute bags in a cool place like your garage, and you can enjoy potatoes right throughout the winter. And the final crop is a fruit that I adore, and it's black currants. Now, the great thing about black currants is if you buy these from a garden centre over winter, they have all of the bare stems. You can just cut that section off the stem, like that much, stick that in the ground, and they will grow. And the lovely thing about black currants is that birds just aren't interested in them. Birds love red currants. I would have recommended red currants because they taste like so sweet and lovely, but birds eat them and you need to net them, whereas black currants, they leave them alone. They're a little bit more tart, but you can use it to create cordials or to create jam or like a compote or anything like that, and it's really fun. And also the aroma of the leaves, if you're unsure whether a plant is a red currant, a white currant or a black currant, it's only black currants that have the aroma of the leaves, and it's well worth growing. And for those of you that have about a spare 20 seconds, I can give you one more core tip. And that tip is to also grow plants that then seed themselves. This is giant tree spinach or glitter spinach. I didn't sow any of these, it just self-seeds everywhere. So this video that's just popped up, you can watch it and it shows you about the types of plants that self-seed, and it's just a huge amount of fun. So, I mean, this is so rampant, you kind of have to eat it to keep it under control.